Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And I'm here today with November's heavenly horoscopes. This would be November 2021. We are rounding out a transformational year, that is for sure. And November is stacking up to be another transformational month. Our consciousness will be required, absolutely 100%. So I'm excited to talk about these transits with you today. But before I start, a little bit of business. I am a whole sign Western astrologer. So all of my videos are going to be based on whole sign Western tropical astrology. I suggest you look at your rising sign. This is the sign that was rising when you were born. It is not the date of your birth. So if you don't know your rising sign, you can go to any one of the free birth calculators on the internet and plug in your day, your time, and your location of birth. And this will give you your information, your rising sign. I then like to look at my moon because the moon is my emotional body and people manifest on their emotional body. If you feel really bad about something or you don't believe you can do it, that's the platform with which you're creating on. And then I think you should look at your sun sign. The sun is how we project ourselves out into the world and how others perceive us. So these are the three biggies. If indeed you would like to book a reading with me, I am available and my information is below in the description and you can reach out to me and I'll send you information and rates. So let's jump into November 2021. The month starts off with Mercury, the planet of communications, the planet of thinking, speaking, writing, and teaching, the planet that rules our everyday activities. It rules our roadways. It rules sidewalks and escalators and teammates, workmates, schoolmates, neighborhoods, and communities. It really is the planet that governs our lives. I mean, every day our running around stuff, okay? And this, Mercury is right now in Libra. Libra is a sign of cooperation, diplomacy, harmony, partnerships, all contractual partnerships where you actually sign on the dotted line. Mercury is making a trine aspect to Jupiter in Aquarius. This is a favorable aspect. It promotes expansion. It promotes harmony. It promotes wealth. And at the same time, Mercury will be squaring Pluto in Capricorn. This is going to actually happen on the 2nd. So these first couple of days of the month are going to feel, I think, a little bit choppy, because on one level, I think we're going to feel this wanting to move the story forward, to take our ideas on the road. And at the same time, I'm going to have to be mindful of the structure that is already in place. So if indeed, I guess how I want to put this, when I talk about structure, I'm talking about the human structure of society. So wherever you're watching this in the world, how your country runs things, how your dynamic is going to be what I think in a little bit of conflict with what you want to move forward, or how you're thinking about you wanting to move something forward. A couple of days later, on the 4th, we're going to have a new moon in Scorpio opposing Uranus in Taurus. I'm going to do a separate video on this because I think it's a very powerful new moon, and it is going to really sort of represent this dynamic between other people's money, other people's resources, and making our own money. There's this going to be some sort of unexpected dynamic. Uranus always brings the unexpected. Even if we think we're expecting it, it kind of works out differently than we project. So I'm going to do a separate video on that and then address what house it will be happening to for each sign. So be on the lookout for that. On the 5th, we have Mercury going into Scorpio. So we're seeing the planet of communication going from Libra, cooperation, harmony, balance, into Scorpio, which is just slightly a little bit more stingy. Scorpio is a deep, savory sign. It's the sign of the detective because it gets in there deep, it sees deep, it feels deeply. So we're going to feel our communications deepening. And in some respects, we may feel slightly impatient with bullshit. Let's just put it out there. So I just want to make ourselves mindful of that so that we communicate constructively versus being a little challenged. On the same day, the 5th of November, we have Venus moving into Capricorn. Venus rules money. So we're seeing a lot of dynamics about our money going on here. Our money and other people's money and how that works. Venus will be in Capricorn until March 2022 because Venus is going to go through a retrograde. Being in Capricorn, it's going to address the structure of how we make our money. It's going to address any limitations we're putting on ourselves. And I really believe that at this point, Venus is going to ask us about our confidence. She's going to say, how confident are you in your skills and your ability to make money? And this is something that is going to be a theme for the next few months. On the 10th, we have Mercury in conjunction with Mars in Scorpio. And this is going to be squaring Saturn in Aquarius. I think this is going to be a tremendously challenging day. Be mindful of your communications. You may feel extremely cranky. Mars can be a little cranky. Mars can be, it's a planet of war, but it's also the planet that represents a deeper truth. And when you're in Scorpio, Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. And so it is really, it's a day when you're going to want all the communications to be really authentic. And a day when you'll be very impatient with people that are inauthentic or people that are being, how do I want to say this, table for one. So watch yourself, watch your anger level, because you may find yourself popping off at people. And it may not even be because it may be like a little bit in the sense of where you're feeling like you need to school people on how to behave properly. And I feel like this is just teeing things up for an argument. So I'd be mindful around the 10th and the 11th of this month. On the 12th, we have the Sun in Scorpio making a positive aspect to Neptune in Pisces. This is a very fleeting energy. It's going to just last one day because the Sun, transits very quickly, but it's a dreamy day. On the 13th, we have Mercury, the planet of communication, in opposition to Uranus in Taurus. So we're seeing this theme of our communications, our everyday activities being stretched and pulled between what we feel on the inside, the depths of our emotional body, that would be Scorpio, in relation to Taurus, which is more in the earthbound place, the actual, stomping on the ground of how we make money. It's the earth versus the emotional body. I hope that's making sense, because this dynamic of this opposition has an opportunity to liberate us in some ways. So if you're finding that the square between Mercury, or the conjunction between Mercury and Mars squaring Saturn creates an upset, you may find that by the 13th or the 14th, that has revealed something that you expected but didn't expect. Again, I want to offer it in a way that feels like I knew something intuitively, and now it's being sort of supported in the material world, and it's creating a little bit of conflict, but at the same time, that conflict has an opportunity to clear the air. Okay, then on the 15th, we go, the Sun in Scorpio will square Jupiter in Aquarius. All squares are considered challenging in astrology, and at the same time, I think of them as creating a foundation. The tense conversations create an illumination, and that illumination sets a stronger foundation for movement forward. On the 17th, we have Mars in Scorpio opposing Uranus in Taurus. This is another day when there could be arguments, unexpected arguments. It's a very challenging time. That's all I can say. And it's right on the heels before we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus on the 19th. So this particular week of the 14th to say the 20th could be full of disruption. I want to just put it that way. The disruption will ultimately lead to a clearing. It's kind of like the manure that feeds your garden, but when you go through it, it may not feel so great. On the 22nd, we have the sun moving into Sagittarius. On the 24th, we have Mercury moving into Sagittarius. This is going to kind of lighten things up a little bit. Sagittarius by nature is a little bit more of a, how do I want to phrase it? Scorpio is an energy that is requiring transformation. And by the time we get to Sagittarius, our beliefs have been rewritten as a result of that transformation. So on some level, it feels a little bit calmer because I've come to some sort of realization this month, the beginning of this month, the first 3 weeks of November. And then on the 29th, we have Mars in Scorpio, trining Neptune in Pisces. So this is, again, another favorable aspect. So there could be what I would call, there could be some illusions that have been revealed, and in a way that doesn't feel as spiky as the beginning of the month, as rough. It almost feels as if it's a validation of some kind. Again, I'm feeling this theme of November being this intuitive knowing that I've been avoiding, and it keeps coming up over and over again, so that I don't avoid it, but rather look at it and allow it to transform me in a way that brings me closer to the deeper truth of who I am and what I want to experience on this planet. Okay, so these are the main things that are going on. Again, I'm going to do a separate video for the new moon on the 4th and for the eclipse on the 19th of November. These moon cycles create cycles within cycles. So this new moon on the 4th is starting a 6-month cycle that will then culminate with the full moon in Scorpio. And then we have the full moon eclipse in Taurus that is the culmination of a cycle that started way back in May, late April of 2021. All right, so now what I'm going to do is start with Aries and work my way towards Pisces and do a reading for each one of the signs. Again, I'm going to suggest that you watch your rising sign first, your moon second, and your sun third. If you have a stellium, which is 4 planets, some astrologers will say 3 on a more loosey side. On a more strict side, it's going to be 4 planets in 1 house or 1 sign. This really indicates a soul's intention for this lifetime, so I would look at that as well. All right, let's start with Aries. Now, Aries, you are ruled by Mars, so there's a lot of energy going on right now with Mars and Scorpio, because Mars and Scorpio is a little impatient. At least it feels that way to me. All right, so we have Daniel, the angel of marriage. We have Azure in the opportunity of the obstacle. We have Omega in the angel's advice. And finally, we have Caressa in the final position. Daniel's the angel of marriage, but he also represents my history in relationships, in contractual relationships, and asks me to look at that history and am I bringing that history into a new situation? Because if the history doesn't serve me, then I get to rethink it. So Daniel is being joined by the dragon, which represents my power and strength. Azure is being joined by the Queen. Omega is being joined by the Truth card, and Caressa is being joined by the Wealth card. So for my Aries, there's this idea for me this month that your power and strength comes from your willingness to know that you can take action, but taking a pause before you actually take that action. We are seeing Mars making some challenging aspects to various other planets throughout the month. So as we see this, each time it gives you an opportunity to ask yourself, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? It seems like a very big theme for the end of 2021, because the history you bring into your relationships may be correct, but does your power and strength lie in the history or in your ability to be calm and to be moving forward past that history? In some of the relationship counseling that I do in marriages, one of the things that I find troublesome is when the couples bring up their history over and over and over again. And usually that's brought up because there was no conclusion drawn. And I feel like that is not serving you, Aries. Bringing up your old story is only diluting your point, because now is a time to be receptive. Azure says your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. And there's the Queen. The Queen is about fertility, but it's not about necessarily bringing a baby into the world as much as you are fertile in your ability to receive. And your victory lies in the truth. And I want to offer it this way, because when you come into your relationships this month and you're willing to put the history behind you, it's not to be ignorant, it's not to ignore a pattern, but it's to give you an opportunity to do what Scorpio does best: rebirth something. This is a month of rebirthing, because Caressa says you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you, Aries. And here's the harmonious wealth card. And it is because you have gone from being the hostile warrior that Aries is wrapped around, and you've become the truth seeker, the pioneer, the brave one who is courageous enough to try something different. And the difference is to allow for the anger to subside so that it can be transformed. This is a very spiky month. And I hate to be a naysayer, but I think sometimes when we walk through a spiky month or we walk through a spiky time and we don't get sucked up into that spiky energy, or we don't get sucked up into the negativity, then that challenging time becomes something we look back on fondly because we triumphed over it. We made conscious decisions. And this is why I believe there's victory being offered for Aries, because you really are making a decision as to whether or not you want to use your sword. Okay, let's go on to Taurus. Again, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. A lot of activity going on with you as Taurus. Uranus is transiting Taurus. Uranus is liberating. Uranus is revolutionary. Uranus rules the nervous system and anxiety and nervous breakdowns and aviation and lightning, in innovation and forward thinking. These planets rule so many layers of things. And I think it's super important to look at the deeper and deeper layers of their meaning so that we don't inadvertently focus in on the challenging aspects of them. Because with every challenge, there comes an opportunity for improvement. So let's see what Spirit has to say for Taurus for the month of November. Our first angel is Maya. The second is Bridget. The third is Grace and Antoinette. And the final is Teresa. One of the things that Taurus rules is self-confidence. It rules the second house naturally, which is our family history house. And that's where our confidence usually comes from, is how we start off in our families. So I feel like there's an opportunity for Taurus. Whoop, one of the cards just flew. Let me get it. All right. That was the owl joining Maya. The card is schooling and education. We have Bridget being joined by the frog. We have Grace and Antoinette being joined by the serpent, and Teresa being joined by the swan. Taurus is a fixed sign, and I'm a Taurus moon, so I'm very familiar with its fixed nature, because sometimes when I believe something, I can't move past it. I get a little stuck in it. And I feel like for Taurus this month of November, you're getting an education in the good and the bad of every situation. Every experience we have has an opportunity or an obstacle attached to it. And it's our perception that dictates how we're going to process it, because Bridget is asking you to look deeper into the situation, and the frog is offering an emotional release. And while I don't necessarily think, because my Taurus moon doesn't release anything, I can make sense of it. I can turn it into a tool that actually empowers me to be stronger, to be more brave, to be more courageous, to claim my life. So when I go and I, as a Taurus, can see that a challenging situation is actually giving me resources that I might not have otherwise had, and a trust in myself and my ability to create money, because the second house rules money, Taurus rules money. So this is an opportunity to look deeper into a disruption that actually clears the boards, because it's a time to have compassion as we go through this shedding of a skin. Everyone who has a Taurus energy is experiencing this Uranus transit. And I know that when Uranus was transiting my rising sign, Aries, there was a bit of anxiety, and I was extremely impatient with my world. I wanted to move my story forward, and it appeared not to be moving. And then all of a sudden Uranus created this quote unquote explosion, which then liberated me. But I had to be brave enough to walk through the moment and to trust myself. And I feel like that's what's going on with Taurus. It's really moving away from worry and trusting the transformation from the ugly duckling to the swan. And part of that is understanding that sometimes disruption is the doorway to our dreams. When I think about any of the big moves I ever made in my life towards who and what I wanted to be, oftentimes there was a big disruption that started it. And when I say disruption, maybe a little bit more clear. Before I started working for myself, I worked in a chiropractic office for 3 years. And one day, somebody in that office just ticked me off. They had just ridden me like I was a donkey, and I got very mad, and I quit my job. But I had been spending 3 years building and being very tenacious about creating my story. So when I got angry, it was now a moment where I had to ask myself if I trusted all the work I had been putting in. And I decided I did. And I didn't look too far ahead. I only looked far enough ahead to propel me. So this is what I think is going on for Taurus. I believe that there could be potentials of Mercury moving into Scorpio that creates arguments in the workplace or some sort of disruption. And this could be an actual clearing of the air that helps move your story forward. And I want to offer it this way, because we still, when we move into December, we're getting closer and closer to the Saturn-Uranus square. And this is directly affecting Taurus, as it will affect those Aquarians and anybody who has planets in those two houses or signs. And I feel like as your awareness grows, then your intention will be the leader. your intention will be to understand that the disruption is actually leading you closer to your dream. So you don't have to feel tanked by it, and you can be more effective as you walk through it. Okay, let's go on to our Geminis. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Your ruling planet Mercury is having a lot of activity, currently in Libra, communicating in a diplomatic way. But as it moves into Scorpio, there may be just a little bit more of a blunt energy that comes. That's the way I want to put that. Less wanting to make it flowery and pretty, and more like, let's just get down to business. So what does Spirit have to say for you for the month of November 2021? All right, Gemini, our first angel is Oceana. The second is Maya. The third is Chantal. And the final is Bridget. Gemini, Oceana is being joined by the High Priestess. Maya is being joined by the Communications card. Chantal is being joined by the Love card. And Bridget is being joined by the Focus card. Oceana talks about allowing your emotional body to really lead the way, to trust. You're in touch with your truth in this situation, and it is your job to continue to allow your emotional body to lead you, not your brain, because Mercury rules your brain. And the High Priestess is again going to talk about things that are from an unseen place, an intuitive place, an emotional place. And I feel like, Gemini, trust your emotional body, because in some ways your brain is going to tell you that you can only trust what you can see, what you can feel. And that's not necessarily true, because you're getting an education in communication. And the communication may be with other people, but it's a lot with yourself, because I think something's happening in your love life that you may be unaware of. So let me kind of give you a little bit of a scenario. If your love life is in a little bit of disruption right now, that might be a good thing, because it's allowing the partner or the person that you feel an affection towards to see your character when you walk through an uncomfortable situation. And this may inadvertently actually be a good thing, because they see your character, they fall in love with you more than they already had. Because I think that there is a challenging situation that if you look deeper and you focus in on a deeper level of things, you'll see that everything is a lot better than you had thought it was. So let me just give you an idea. We're talking about this idea that Gemini's emotional body should be ruling their brain. Now, when I say that, you're going to have to be a little discerning, because your brain may tell you that your emotional body feels a certain way, but it's a habit. It's a patterned way of feeling. And if you take another second to just stop and go, wait, maybe this feels the same, but I've evolved. And in my evolution, I understand that sometimes disruption or distance or what appears to be discord is actually clearing the air for a more authentic communication, a more authentic relationship, a more authentic perception. And I feel like this is really about the people in your life getting an opportunity to see you in a new light, to see you in a brighter light. And part of it is for you to trust a deeper inner knowing. Okay, let's go on to our Cancers. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, Cancer. Our first angel is Opal. The second is Carassa. The third is Teresa. And the final is Marlena. Cancer, Opal is being joined by the Burden card. Caressa is being joined by the Cow. Teresa is being joined by the Queen. And Merlina is being joined by the Partnership card. When I'm talking to such a large group of people, I don't really see the Children card as children as much as I see it as an inner child. And so while Cancer rules home and hearth and children and nurturing children, I really believe this is about nurturing your inner child, and that it's a burden right now. And I think it's a burden because I think you're looking at the world in sort of a 3D way. And there is a part of you that has to start to connect to an emotional, this is again, very strong emotional time to allow the laws of attraction to bring to you the things you want versus you going out and pounding the pavement to make them happen. Because I think this is about what you want, Cancer, what you want to experience. Now, you could want to experience children. You could want to experience your own inner child getting to express itself. If you always want to be a singer, a dancer, a writer, any creative endeavor, even if you want to be a financial banker, to me, all these things have the ability to be creative in some level. And now is a time for you to give life to, rather than seeing the burden of giving life to your dreams and hopes, it's time for you to start to come into partnership with them. And I say that because I'm going into the final position and then I'll go back around. Merlina talks about confusion and indecision and to seek expert advice. And there's the Partnership card. But when I look at Merlina, I see Merlin, the grand wizard, like the female version of that, a receptive version of it. And everything has balance. Look at the yin and the yang. Look at the two dolphins. Look at the two girls. There's a certain amount of balance that has to come in. And I think that balance is talking about an interior job for Cancer, because I think now is a time of asking and receiving and to see yourself as being nourished by spirit. It's time to put an end to feeling alone, to feeling like you're having to do it all by yourself. And I don't think this is about going to another human being and trying to engage their help. I really believe this is about starting to act and believe and speak and to think and to absorb yourself in the idea of what you want in the way of your dreams. And having a little bit of blinders about other people's opinions about it, because inadvertently other people will run into the, how are you going to do that? Where's the structure? Where is the hardcore evidence that you can achieve your goals? And there is no hardcore evidence right now, because that's why you're so burdened, is you're having to depend on all of your dream body, Cancer. And as you depend on your dream body and you focus in on it, you start to feel spirit give you signs and omens that what you want can and will happen. And part of your job is to stay in reception of it. You know, we see Teresa. Teresa represents worry to me. It represents other people and worrying about what they think. And the Queen, on the other hand, is very calm. Her arms, again, this open body feeling, this open body, Merlina's opened body. Because I feel like for my Cancers, this particular month is an opportunity for you to look at what you're thinking. And am I focusing more on the worry that I won't get what I want? Or am I focused in on the excitement that I will get what I want? Because worry is a form of prayer that doesn't serve you. It puts your attention and your intention in the very experience you don't want to have. So I want to offer this. If for some reason you're Cancer, you want to birth a entertainment career of some kind, or you want to do something that you think is a passion of yours, try your best to take it in small steps rather than trying to go to the end of the line. How will I make money at my passion? Because that question is undermining in some ways, because if you can't see it in the physical world, you won't think it's real. And spirit is telling me you're going to have to feel it in your emotional body before you can experience it in the material world. This is kind of this theme of being in Scorpio season. Scorpio rules the unseen. It rules plumbing, and it rules underground and it rules toxic waste. And in some respects, when you focus in on the challenge, that challenge becomes toxic waste when it's out of balance, because it becomes so big that you can't overcome it. So this is where you have to go into your intuitive body and then to go into partnership with spirit and ask them to give you the inspirations you need to move your story forward. And I can't help but see there's so many reality shows right now that if you want to endeavor a career where you're using one of your talents, writing, speaking, singing, cooking, I don't care what it is, there is a ton of opportunities for you to explore that idea. And as you explore the idea in these small little steps, then you get to catch up with the manifestation of it, and the burden will lift. And you'll start to get excited about your partnership, and you'll stop feeling as confused. You'll understand that it is very much the law of attraction and then the law of allowing. Because oftentimes when we want to manifest something, we create an opportunity. And then in that opportunity, we have to be brave enough to step through it, because we may not see the money that we think we need. And that's where it really gets kind of sketchy, because if we don't become brave, we won't know if the money will be there. I hope that makes sense, because I feel a little bit with Cancer, because you rule home and hearth, and because you rule nurturing of other people, if you can't see how you will do that, you will defer to something you can see. And I feel like that might actually diminish your results. Whereas if you trust your intuitive body, there may be more bounty at the end. That's where I'm going. All right, let's go on to Leo, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Give it a good shuffle. All right, Leo, our first angel is Shanti, the angel of peace. The second is Archangel Raphael. Third is Akasha, and the final is Celeste. All right, Leo, Shanti is being joined by the burden card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the love card. Akasha is being joined by the mystery. And then we have Celeste being joined by the movement card. This is a month that is extremely spiky. There's going to be, people are going to be a little bit on edge. I can't help but say it. And the more people are earthbound into their 3D world, the more edgy they may be. So I really want to ask Leo, as the leader, the sun rules you, to be patient with yourself so that you can be patient with others. Your clarity may be annoying, meaning you may see something very clear and other people around you don't see it as obviously, and that may be frustrating, because Shanti, the angel of peace, and the burden card are telling me that peace may feel a little elusive this month. And that makes perfect sense with what I'm seeing with Mercury running around in Scorpio at the beginning, or I'm sorry, from mid-month, Mars moving into Scorpio, Mercury being in Scorpio. This is our everyday activities and the planet of war kind of hanging out together in a sign that can be a little bit blunt and assertive. You know, Scorpio in its lowest vibration is controlling, and it represents power, but in a negative way. All the signs have their light side and their dark side. So for Leo, this is really an opportunity to be in leadership, but in a way that is not where you're telling other people what to do, but understanding that things are a little choppy right now, and peace may feel a little elusive, because it's going to be a month that really requires us to find healing through a loving vibration. So let me offer this too for Leo, because as a Leo rising sign, one of the challenges is to be vulnerable to your heart's desires. The sign Leo rules the heart. It rules fun and children and pleasure, romance, hobbies. And at this time, I feel like, because the world feels choppy, I feel like we're going to see, as we get closer to the holiday season, I think we're going to see more restrictions in the aviation world, what Uranus rules. We may see some challenges traveling for the holidays. I'm extremely concerned about that. So I'm saying for Leo that your opportunity is to see the wisdom of a loving vibration, and that in this way you truly do get to stand as a teacher. Akasha represents a spiritual teacher, and the mystery card represents choice. And I don't think Spirit is asking you to choose to be a teacher as much as you will teach as a result of your loving patience, as your loving, as much as it may be hard to feel peace this month, your awareness of that and your ability to shift within a situation. Because Celeste talks about a new home and a new place of employment, bringing in new energy, happy energy. But I know that I think a certain way, and you can put my body anywhere and it's going to operate on what I believe. So this is really an opportunity for Leo to shift in some ways, and in doing that, moving the energy, literally moving the energy. And if for some reason Leo is actually looking for a new home or a new place of employment, being a little bit gentle with yourself. You know, we don't have any more Mercury retrogrades this month, but what we see is Mercury coming up against some challenging dynamics in the respect of, let me put it this way. I feel like for Leo, there's going to be a bit of a delay, and the delay itself will allow you to get more clarity on what you really want versus taking action immediately. So if you are moving, or if you're planning on buying a new home, you may right now be thinking, well, I have this amount of money and I know I have this amount of resources, and you're operating on that. And then all of a sudden, the world sort of shifts and you start to go, you know what, I want to start to operate on something that brings me more peace. I want to start to move towards what I love. So focusing in on the idea that there are certain things that Leo wants that you have been calling forth that you may not even be ready for, but as you call them forth, Spirit will bring, I'm going to sound crazy, but it may feel a little choppy and disruptive, but at the end of the day, it has the ingredients to make things much more aligned to what you want, much more aligned to your happiness. So it feels a little disruptive in the beginning, and then it calms itself down. And not because the world does, but your perception does. It's like you become the peacekeeper in your own mind. All right, let's go into Virgo. You know, Pluto, the planet Pluto represents death and rebirth. It also brings in millionaires, billionaires. It can bring a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of success. So as we as a conscious tribe look at the planets and become aware of them, and then make more conscious decisions about how we want to, what part of this planet's energy do I want to play to? I have certain areas in my life where I see disruption all the time, and I can be very frustrated, but my awareness walking into the situation that it's already frustrating helps me support a calmer energy going in. All right, Virgo, here we go. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Adriana. The second is Shanti. The third is Astera, and the final is Ariel. So Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, and Mercury has a lot of action this month. There's a lot of potential for disruptive conversation this month. I'm going to say it. I am. Adriana is being joined by the Wind Fairy. Shanti is being joined by the Dragon. Astera is being joined by the Fear card, and Ariel is being joined by the Owl. The Wind Fairy is like Mercury. It represents our thoughts, our analysis, how we process something. And Adriana says she's leading you to the answers to your prayers. And I really think for my Virgos this month, this is an opportunity to start to look at your thinking process. And if you're giving yourself the benefit of the doubt, if you are expecting too much perfection from yourself, are you expecting too much? You know, Virgo is considered the sign of slavery. We're enslaved to our jobs, we're enslaved to our health. And I feel like sometimes Virgo inadvertently enslaves themselves because of their own sense of perfection, their own sense of duty, their own sense of integrity. And I feel like that this may actually be starting to annoy you in some ways. Like, I'm tired of being the only person in the office that shows up on time, or I'm the only person in the office that stays late to get their job done. And on some level, Spirit is leading you to a place that is allowing you to calm your mind down, to actually, sometimes when we look at things, because when I say that about being the last one in the office, are you doing it for your employer, or are you doing it for your own sense of integrity? Because I think when we start to connect to our own sense of integrity, then a little bit of the resentment that can come on when we're not acknowledged can move away. Because I feel like that's where the strength and power lies from the Dragon, is in being aware of that I'm not just doing this because other people expect it of me, but it's what I expect of myself and what I like for myself. Because Astera is saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires, and here's the Fear card. And I think this is now referring to false evidence appearing real. When I was younger, I don't know why I was so aware of like karma, in the sense of if I did something bad, that something bad would happen to me. And I remember like having my first jobs and wanting to say, oh, my grandma's sick, I can't come to work. And then I was like, oh no, if I say my grandma's sick, then if she gets sick, I'm going to take responsibility for it. This is where I'm kind of going with Virgo, because I feel a little bit like there's something about your thought process that you're taking too much responsibility for. And as you allow that to be false evidence appearing real, you will more easily start to attain the peace and the calming of your mind in some way. Because in the final position, Ariel is saying new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and the world. And the Owl now is giving me this energy of being able to decipher between my old pattern and my new pattern, or what I want to be my new pattern. Am I feeling trapped in a situation because someone is trapping me there? Or am I kind of co-creating that trapping because of my sense of duty, obligation, perfection, being good at my job? And I want to offer this too, because if indeed Virgo needs a break, take it. If you have vacation time, take it. If you need to give yourself permission to feel peace and to step out of a situation that feels contentious or challenging, allow yourself that, because Spirit can step in and create a solution that you might not be able to see because you're too close to the situation. And this is where it becomes a little challenging, because you're not really 100% positive of what you're doing. You're basing this on an intuitiveness, but that intuitiveness will start to become spirit leading you through your thoughts and trusting the difference and being able to decipher between what are your thoughts and what are your inspired thoughts through spirit. Hope that made sense. I'm starting to feel that channeling when I don't know what I'm saying. It's just all coming so fast. Let's go on to our Libras, rising, moon, sun, and stallions. Took my blueberry. Love me my blueberry juice. All right, Libra. As I look at this, or as I start to contemplate Libra, I can't help but focus in on the Venus in Capricorn. Capricorn naturally squares Libra, and Venus rules money, Capricorn rules money. This is a real opportunity to look at how you're making your money and start to rewrite the structure of it in your own mind. I mean, in a strategic way, starting to think about, am I enjoying how I'm spending my time? Am I enjoying how I'm creating my resources? Is it making me feel valuable? Because I think there could actually be a strong, I don't know why I'm getting this intuitive hit that Libra could potentially start to make a little bit more money through the idea of standing succinctly in what you love and then be willing to do the work to make it happen. Capricorn is always going to want us to put our head down and work hard. Doesn't really pick the lane. We pick the lane, but Capricorn holds our feet to the fire to do the hard work. And this is going to be almost a 4-month period, because we're in November and it's going to be the beginning of March. I believe it's March 6th that it will go direct again and move through Capricorn and on its way back around the zodiac. All right, Libra, our first angel is Caressa. The second is Ray. The third is Crystal. And the final is Bridget. Caressa always talks about the end of a life cycle, a new life cycle starting. And this Venus is moving into Capricorn the day after the new moon. So I think all this is kind of playing out together. So there's going to be new networking possibilities for you, I think. We have Spider joining Caressa. We have Ray being joined by the movement card. We have Crystal being joined by the wealth card. And we have Bridget being joined by the love card. All right, Libra. I believe that for some reason, this is how I'm seeing this. I believe you're going to start potentially creating new networks of resources for yourself. This could be over the internet. It could be through work. It could be through new people that you meet, because Caressa says you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you. And the spider for me is a relationship card, but it's not just a relationship with one person, although it can be. I also can't help but see the web and think of the World Wide Web and think of the possibilities of how many people can be reached. So I feel like it's important for Libra to start to really think about the idea of how you make your money and if it's serving you, and potentially starting to expand your network now and broadening things, because Ray and the movement card are in your opportunity and or your obstacle. And Ray, for me, while it talks about yoga and exercise, it's always my meditation. Look, she's in a meditative state. Her eyes are closed. She is bringing her power chakra up through her third eye. And then we see the heart chakra represented by the green and the throat chakra represented by the blue. All of this creates movement and an opportunity for more harmonious wealth. This isn't just money to me. This is like happiness and fulfillment and feeling purposeful. And Crystal's saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And then in the final position, we have Bridget and the love card. And I want to offer it this way because Libra is a very cooperative sign. Oftentimes the shadow side of Libra is resentment because it's so cooperative that it hopes the other party will see its value. And I feel like at this moment in time, it's extremely important for Libra to allow their expansion by broadening their networks, broadening their resources, broadening the groups of people that you do your business with or you interact with, and to start to trust that as you broaden them, that people will find benefit in what you do. Because this love card to me feels like maybe Libra has felt a lack of love, and a lack of love from the network or from, this doesn't feel like it's family. It doesn't feel like it's a relationship. It feels like it could be in my work sector, in my outside world sector. And so I want to offer this, that as you start to endeavor something new and you broaden your group of people, let's say you start a new YouTube channel or you started being a TikToker. I watched this guy called Old Trucker on TikTok, and he's just the most sweet man, and he is not like anyone else. And I feel like he, in some ways, is doing exactly what I think we're trying to do for Libra, is just to allow yourself to be yourself, not to judge yourself, to broaden your network so that you can experience the bounty of movement, because there's more coming ahead for you where you will feel fulfilled. And in some ways, I think you're going to start to feel love in areas that you otherwise had not experienced. This doesn't feel cautionary at all. It feels almost as if I'm missing love because I'm not paying attention to it. Okay, let's go on to our Scorpios. Oh, Scorpio, is it a big month for you? With the new moon, the eclipse, all sorts of things happening. And with a full moon eclipse, we will have a new moon eclipse 2 weeks later in December. Let me check my calendar. We should be having another eclipse. Let me see. Usually there's, I'll have to, oh yeah, we have a solar eclipse on the 3rd. So, okay, here we go. This is now for Scorpio, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, our first angel for Scorpio is Athena. The second is Ariel. The third is Vanessa. And the final is Shanti. Athena is being joined by the dog. Ariel's being joined by the fire fairy. Vanessa's being joined by the novice. And Shanti is being joined by the owl. Scorpio, I think this is very much having to do with love, and not necessarily love that you give to others, but how you receive love. Because Athena says it's safe for you to lovingly assert yourself, and the dog is about love, loyalty, and sincerity. And I think that this is about your lovingly asserting yourself as to how are you receiving love in your life. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle is the fire fairy, which could very much be Aries or Mars energy for me, but this is about passion. And then there's Ariel, saying new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and the world. Now, Scorpio rules the unseen. It rules talking to the dead. I mean, if you have Mercury in there, but because I feel like there's an inner knowing in Scorpio where there's certain things that you want to experience, but if you are going to experience them, you have to claim them. And it isn't about going to another human being and trying to claim it from another human being as much as you're claiming it within yourself, because it's time to have faith And here's the unstable new beginning. And this is what I want to say, because if for some reason Scorpio has been shaving off anything that you need in love, dumbing down, getting smaller, I don't think Spirit is going to support that relationship because it's wanting you to be all that you can be. And Shanti is the angel of peace. And the owl is here asking you if the way you're receiving love is really bringing peace to you. And if indeed it is not, then the owl is asking you to exercise the wisdom of connection with Spirit and starting to have faith. And this is what I want to say about faith, because sometimes we can think we have faith about something, but we're really dumbing ourselves down. I feel like faith is about, if I assert myself towards myself, I need this to feel loved. And I say to Spirit, I want this manifest. And then if it doesn't show up, I have to be brave enough to see that. And in some respects, not walk away physically, but emotionally, rather than say I need to walk away, I need to line up with what I really want. It's almost the difference between being a have and a have not. And I feel like Scorpio gets to start to focus on being a have. Things are coming to me. Things are lining up for me. The universe is lining up to support a deeper version of what I want. And Scorpio represents this kind of intimate love that's very Kama Sutra. It's very deep and savory and raw in some ways. And I feel like it's time to claim that. And you may be a little scared. That could also be like, if I claim it, will I have to give up something else? And this is where I think is becoming the loyalty to your own dynamic of how you need and want to be loved. So I want to say this for Scorpio too, because having Mercury moving into Scorpio, your conversation may be more impatient. Your thinking may be more impatient. You may want to move the story forward. And then mid-month, we have Mars moving into, I'm sorry, it's not mid-month. It is, Mars moves into Scorpio. Sorry, my notes on the 17th. No, I'm sorry, when did it? Mars is already in Scorpio. No. I didn't make that note. Oh. In any case, I'm sorry if I interrupted myself. Mars, being in Scorpio, Mars is the ruling planet in ancient times of Scorpio. Again, the truth seeker Mars, digging deeper. And this month may be very illuminating as to whether you are loving yourself or if you're only allowing yourself to feel loved in relation to how someone else is loving you. And I think we need to flip that script. And I don't mean about going to the other person saying you're not loving me right. It's more about, am I taking care of my own personal needs, or am I ignoring them, hoping somebody else will pick up those personal needs? All right, let's go on to Sagittarius. Hope all of this is making sense. Looks like Mars is in Scorpio most of the month. I'm so irritated that I didn't write down when Mars went into Scorpio. All right, anyway. Oops. Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. Our first angel is Astera. The second is Grace and Antoinette. The third is Celeste. And the final is Akasha. Astera is being joined by the Hawk. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Focus card. Celeste is being joined by the Novice. And Akasha is being joined by the Eagle. Aster says to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise. And then we have the hawk, signs and omens. I want to offer it this way because I believe that this is about pulling your sight up above a situation. And I almost feel like when I look at Aster, I want to say, why not me? Why not my dreams come true? Why not? Because I think that the focus is on self-compassion. I believe compassion might be even a higher vibration than love, because compassion represents love when we don't agree, when we're not in alignment. And I feel like this is self-compassion because your focus potentially has been on obstacles rather than on opportunities. And I feel like for my Sagittariuses, this is an unstable new beginning in shifting your thought process. I talk often about Celeste on the face of the card representing a new home or a new place of employment, but I think a certain way. So you can put me in a new job, you can put me in a new home, but I'm going to take my actions based on my beliefs. So now I think that this is a shifting in your beliefs, a shifting in, maybe it is time to say, why not me? Why not now? If not now, when? Because I think that Akasha has something to teach you about standing integrity for your own dreams and desires. And your job is to keep your sight up. So this is where I want to put for Sagittarius. I'm 62 years old now. And the one thing that I cherish most about aging is being able to look at a situation twice. My initial reaction and then my more evolved observation and reaction. And I think that's what the hawk is trying to show you, because oftentimes disruption or a challenge is actually a good thing because it gives us the resources to know that we can overcome something. If we endeavor something, or if we chase a dream and we never have a challenge, it gets very scary the more we start to live that dream, because we don't know if something inadvertently happened that we weren't expecting, can we recover from it? So that's what I think is going on here. For Sagittarius, keep your eye on the prize of what you want. And remember that everything that comes across your path is strengthening you in some way. And your job is to have compassion when you go through some of those more challenging times or challenging conversations, and that this is really establishing a new beginning for you. And you may physically get a new job. You may physically get a new boss. You may physically start to consider cohabitating with another person or moving into a new home. But in order for you to really feel like you're grounding yourself, that you're learning something, it's about standing in integrity for the process of disruption. Sounds crazy, but makes such sense to me. All right, let's go on to our Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. First thing I want to say for Capricorn is, as Venus moves into your sign on the 5th of November, I really think there's an opportunity to make money. Money, money, money. And part of this, I want to say for Capricorn, is being able to identify your value, what you're good at, and not just being able to identify it in a way that says, look, I'm dependable in this way, but also I'm dependable, and now I want to create a win-win where I win and you win. Because Capricorn is also about structure, authority, government, leadership. I think this is a little bit about Capricorn taking leadership for themselves in their resources and their money. Our first angel is Astera. The second is Isabella. The third is Maya. And the final is Omega. All right, Capricorn. Astera is being joined by Merlin. Isabella's being joined by the butterfly. Maya's being joined by the wind fairy. and Omega is being joined by the partnership card. Merlin represents alchemy. Alchemy is just is money. Alchemy is where you take something that was a semi-precious metal and turned into a precious metal. We have justice and balance also joining Merlin. And then I can't help but think of Merlin as the grand wizard, where all magic actually happens. And it becomes more like money to me as I keep my eye on the prize of what I want to experience. And again, I can't help but think about creating a win-win. I feel like this is part of, we've got this huge square between Saturn, your ruling planet, and Uranus that's been going on for all of 2021, which is rewriting the structure of how we operate as humans on this planet. So I feel like for Capricorn, you definitely have the option of making more money as you approach your work life from a win-win situation. Because Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right. A new happiness follows your positive expectation, and you've been growing. You've been blossoming, you've been gestating like the caterpillar, and now it's time to assume the position of the butterfly and allow yourself to start to float on the airwaves of your dreams, because you've been learning about how your mind works, Capricorn. And I have been a big fan of Capricorn for as long as I can remember, and I really feel like Capricorn is transmuting from the old cranky goat that most people refer to Capricorn as into the baby goat that enjoys and dances and plays, because I think what's happening is you're coming into partnership with what you want, and in creating a win-win with whoever is your boss, employer, your clients. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you set up a promotion where your clients win and you win. I feel very much taking this period of time, and I'm starting here in November. This is your November horoscope, but Venus, the sign of money through your skills, is transiting your house until March. November, December, January, and February. That's solid 4 months to really put your mind and your intention and your attention into what you want to create, and creating a partnership with it. So some of you may work on your own, but the partnership is within your own mind. Can I, can't I? Will I, won't I? And as you learn about how your mind starts to kick in the laws of attraction, you can kind of calm your fears and have them actually empower you. That was one of the most powerful things that I learned as an entrepreneur, that I get tired. And because I don't know when the next client is going to book, sometimes my fears will run amok. And instead of allowing myself to rest, I would constantly be pushing and pushing and pushing. And then I realized that, oh no, when I honor that I need rest, then work comes to me. So there's something about that going on. Balance. And through balance will come alchemy and creating a win-win. So if you are indeed a Capricorn and you work for someone else or in partnership with someone else, creating a dynamic where you show how you bring value, and that value also creates value. So you're creating a win on both sides of the fence. And then I feel like we'll see more money coming in. All right, let's go on to our Aquariuses. Another sign with a lot of activity going on, because we have Jupiter, which is going direct through your sign right now, as well as Saturn. Okay, Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Serena, the angel of abundance. The second is Caressa. The third is Merlina. And the final is Vanessa. So the first thing I want to say is that as a spiritual teacher and as someone who's studied spirituality my whole life, I know that money is a vibration. It's not something I earn. It's not something I amass. It's something I align to. So Aquarius, Serena is saying that God is in charge of your abundance. And part of it is your ability to be serene during the process. And we have the dog joining Serena. We have Caressa being joined by the Truth card. We have Merlina being joined by the Partnership card. And we have Vanessa being joined by the Love card. So Uranus rules you by modern times, and Saturn rules you in ancient times. And this can feel a little conflicting. Then we go to the idea that these two planets are making a square throughout the whole year of 2021. Saturn ruling government structures, old things that we've come, we don't even know if they're good anymore because we've such a habit of doing them, that they're habitual in thought. Let me give you an example. In order to make money, you have to pound the pavement, go find a job, do. That's an old structure. Uranus would break that box and say, but what is my being energy? What do I believe about the situation? Because for Aquarius right now, I think Serena is saying, don't worry about money. Do what you love, be what you love, focus in on what you love, because you're at the end of a life cycle and new happiness is being offered to you, but this is going into a deeper truth. The deeper truth of what do I want to be when I grow up? And the angels are saying, you may not know right now how you're going to go about getting that, but you've got to come into partnership with your own dreams and desires. Because if all you ever do is focus in on how am I going to make money at it, then you're not in your passion at all. Because in the final position is Vanessa saying, have faith in what you love. I don't want to take this into an intimate relationship right now. This feels very much like Aquarius. Aquarius rules technology. It rules going into space. It rules innovation. And so because it thinks outside the box, it's not usually doing what everybody else is doing. So for my Aquariuses, for the month of November, I think it's super important for you to find a sense of serenity and surrender to what you love, and then allow yourself to be in that energy. And to swim around in the deeper parts of the truth of what you want to be. And then rather than trying to find out how you're going to sustain yourself in the material world, start with your passion. How can I fuel and sustain my passion? And as you fuel and sustain your passion, then Spirit will start to demonstrate for you. Your faith will bring acts of love to you. So sometimes that'll be money. Sometimes it'll be somebody calling with a favor or wanting to take you to lunch or dinner. Don't look for earth-shattering things. Try to go to the small places this month. Look for the small places where Spirit is affirming, oh, I got that bill paid, and oh, the money for that came in, and oh, and start to pay attention to those things, because I think it's super important for you as an Aquarius to lead the charge of your own liberation. And that liberation will come as a result of you giving yourself permission to not swim in the challenge of what you love, but in the reason why you love it in the first place. Okay, let's go on to our final sign, Pisces. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Rosetta. The second is Athena. The third is Bridget. And the final is Opal. Pisces. Rosetta is being joined by the Wind Fairy. Athena's being joined by the Cow, Bridget is being joined by the Water Fairy, and Opal is being joined by the Love card. Again, you know, when I do this for such a large group of people, I don't look at this as the cards that represent children as children outside of myself. I personally never had children, so this reflects the inner child. If I was doing a personal reading, I may have view this differently, but for Pisces right now, I think that Rosetta is asking you to start to really learn from your inner child. This represents, right now, the wind fairy is representing the grown-up, and Rosetta is representing the child that is not concerned. And, you know, I see this little harp here. You're ruled by Neptune, and Neptune rules well, I can't quite say music, but it rules fantasy, it rules imagination. And on some level, sometimes music plays to our dream world. Because I want to offer this. For my Pisces, I think the potential of playing music might help calm your brain down. And we know that Mercury is making some very interesting aspects this month as it traverses Libra and then goes into Scorpio. So the mind could become more going from a place of trying to be overly cooperative with others to a place of really starting to dig deep and picking at yourself. And I say this because I'm a little concerned that Pisces might be expecting more from themselves right now. And it's time to love on yourself and start to pay attention to how well you've been taking care of yourself. I know it may sound a little kooky right now, but this back and forth feels like your inner child would be like, we're good. And the adult inside would be like, we haven't done this, we haven't done that, and we don't have this, and we don't have that. It's time to lovingly assert yourself, Athena says, towards the idea that you are nurturing yourself, but you're having to start to nurture yourself in your emotional body so that you can manifest. I absolutely believe that we manifest in our emotional body. I don't know anybody who doesn't believe in themselves who can manifest. So let's say this. When I say that, I kind of want to almost use an opposite example. I'm going to use Donald Trump. Because when he campaigned in the first time he was running for office as president, nobody really took him seriously. And so in some respects, he pushed out any negative thoughts, and he only believed in what the inner child was telling him. I can do this. I can make America great. And he continued to lovingly assert himself and nourish that thought through his emotional body. Because this in the angel's advice, what I'm saying is that it's razor focus that manifests. And right now, your mind could be messing up your manifestation, because somewhere here, I'm wondering how much you actually believe in your ability to receive. Because I go back into this final position, and Opal is talking about God being in charge of love. And I want to offer it this way, because if Pisces is feeling a lack of beauty or love or harmony or any of those warm, fuzzy feelings that we associate, you know, when we're little children, we get to dress up like a princess or a superhero, and everybody thinks we're so cute. If you did that as an adult, people think you're crazy. So what I'm trying to say for Pisces this month is, please allow your adult mind to calm down a little bit. Allow your emotional body to go into a more trusting place. Focus more on what you love, not the lack thereof. And I think you'll start to see that Spirit really is aligning you to a deeper truth of what you want. I think sometimes we get into a space and we start to think that my wants are only as good or only as viable as what I can see. And I think that this is part of what's being rewritten in general for all of humanity. Our wants and desires are more viable from an emotional level, and then we'll see them. It's that whole, if you believe it, you'll see it, versus I'll believe it when I see it. So this is really kind of the theme for you guys. A childlike innocence that takes you out of your adult mind, that lets you know that Spirit is really here supporting you as if you are their little child, and your job is to be willing to receive and to trust that a little bit more. And if for some reason something is moved away or something breaks or there's a disconnect, maybe there's a bigger reason for that, and part of your job is to trust that a little bit. All right, that's it for November. I'll be back in just a couple of days with a new moon in Scorpio. That's going to be a very, very powerful and intense energy. Again, all of November is a very intense energy in general, and we're going to see that grow as we get towards the end of the year and that final square between Uranus and Saturn the day after Christmas here in the Pacific. All right. Again, my name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, empowerment coach, and Reiki master. If you'd like to book a reading with me, please feel free to contact me. My information is below in the description, and I will see you soon. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and comment on these videos. I'll see you soon, guys. Peace out.